We are. We are live.
Good
Welcome.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone, for our Friday live. I guess now
Mhm.
this is
Fifth week?
fifth week.
Nice.
Yeah, fifth week of going live. Um, talking about everything dealing with, I guess, consciousness, self-reckoning, spirituality,
hmm
practical mysticism, practical philosophy, all of these different topics that we touched on over the last 5 weeks, I guess, um, and pointing towards self reckoning, our school community also, where we're doing the 7-day self reckoning challenge. We kind of talked about all these topics that uh, come in our day to day life.
Yeah.
Um, and today is going to be also similar in that regard, right? We're talking about consciousness in the, again, in today. How
hmm
we can um, bring or bridge the gap between our internal
World and our
world,
outer life,
outer life,
and
right?
often what stops us from doing that, what that continuity of awareness from unconscious to conscious,
Mm-hmm.
what it would bring
Yeah,
if it was a stable, established, always happening in our lives.
yeah, yeah. And for it to manifest and be it manifests as a conduct, manifest in action, and
hmm
how we live and how we communicate in relationship and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we have some questions that we will pick at random, right?
hmm
And kind of just dive in. If you find any value in this, feel free to check out the other videos and other lives that we did as well. And check out the link in the description for our school community to join and have more of an intimate space where we discuss this and you share in the conversation as well.
Yeah.
Feel free to also comment on this video, subscribe, do all that kind of
Yeah.
YouTube shenanigans stuff.
Exactly. And if there's something you'd like to hear about from our perspective, our lens, let us know.
hmm Yeah, questions, reflections, all that kind of good stuff so that we can address it head on. God willing. Now, we're ready.
Let's do it.
We're spinning the wheel. Yeah. And I think a lot of the questions here would point to the last 7 days, um, the last 7 days in our experience and
Yeah.
all the stuff that kind of came about. Man, we're starting strong. We're starting
Here we go.
strong. The question is, if you knew when you would die, what would change today?
Wow. If I knew when I would die, what would I change today? I guess the first thing I would look to see is if I'm happy or not. Like, have I lived a happy life? And what's the quickest way to get me from um, unhappiness to happiness?
Mm,
And I guess when I say happiness, I don't necessarily mean pleasure, right?
mm-hmm,
Because I guess there would be a feeling of want to have pleasure also before you go, if you're in the right physical
mm-hmm,
health for it, and whatever that means to you or to me, I guess.
mm-hmm.
But
So
I
what?
guess
Yeah,
the
what do you
first thing
mean
I
when you
would
say
do,
happiness?
happiness. I mean, do I feel like I'm in integrity with myself? Do I
Mm-hmm,
feel completely self-expressed? Do I feel like I've lived out my purpose on
mm-hmm,
the planet? Did I even know what that was?
mm-hmm,
Is there this relationship between success and fulfillment, like in my life being played out?
mm.
And if not, and it's my last day.
Wait a second. It doesn't say it's your last day. It says
Oh,
if you knew when you would die.
oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
Oh,
you were like,
damn, this is my last. Okay, yeah. Well, man, I guess it
that's
would
funny.
matter. Like, what's the timing on that?
Wait, that's interesting. Why would it?
Because like if I knew I was going to die 3 decades from now, as
Mm-hmm.
opposed to next week, I feel like my choices would depend on the amount of time I have. Oftentimes, I feel like I'm living a life where I feel like, oh, I got time. But
Mm-hmm.
really, I felt like that a lot more maybe a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
Um, in the last year, I've lost a lot of people that I love
Mm-hmm.
in the last few years. And so my own mortality comes up a lot
Mm-hmm.
more often than it did a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm often thinking like, yo, am I enjoying my life? Am I living the most fulfilled life that I can suss out for myself right
Mm-hmm.
now? And oftentimes I feel like that's a yes. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm spending my time usually doing exactly what I want to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel a sense of success and fulfillment with it. But yeah, it would depend on when that time was for me.
Mm.
If it was next week, God forbid,
God
um,
forbid.
I think I would spend this time letting the people that I know I love, let them know how much I love them.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Probably doing something, some acts of kindness. Um, I would want to put my poetry into the hands of people who I love.
Mm-hmm.
That like, if they see value in it, they can have it and
Mm-hmm.
put it out in the world. Um, but yeah, I would want to spend my time just enjoying life and enjoying the planet and enjoying the people I love
Mm-hmm.
and the people who love me. And honestly, I mean, I said it would change if it was 3 decades ago as opposed to next week. But yeah, I think that's still true. I still want to do the same stuff, but I probably would be more concerned about making sure I've done the functional, practical things I need to do in order to
Mm-hmm.
um, make sure I can live life, like bills and food and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well, let's make sure that the camera is
Yeah.
working.
Excuse us, some technical difficulties. Mm-mm-mm-mm. Yep, we're on.
Okay.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah. But I think that's mostly my answer. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, like,
So I hear that there is a sense, the time creates some kind of what sense of urgency.
exactly.
That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And yeah, sense of urgency and like maybe an unadulterated like realness, like cut through the bullshit. Like, what is it that you want right now?
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if it's 3 decades from now, it's still all the same stuff, but I think more of my attention would be placed on sustaining my life for the 3 decades. You know,
Mm-hmm.
more of the attention, a lot of the attention. You know, like what do
Mm-hmm.
you need to do to pay bills and to
Mm-hmm.
eat and travel and all these things and who you're going to spend that time with and
Yeah.
all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the thing about the not knowing,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is because it kind of, the possibility is ever, it can be, well, not for you, but just in reality, in general,
In
right?
general, yeah.
It can be at any moment, and it can be 3 decades or 40 decades or whatever
Yeah.
from now, right?
Yeah.
So the the balance of that urgency versus uh, building some kind of established ground so that, okay, things are taken care of, so that if I am making it until 30 decades from today,
Mm-hmm.
not 30 decades, dang, 33 decades, 30 years or whatever, that I'm able to actually live and
Yeah.
sustain, you know? So it's like that not knowing is, I feel like we're always oscillating between the urgency,
Yeah.
waking up to that reality, and then going back into building systems and ways in our lives so that if we do end up living to whatever age
Mm-hmm.
in the future, that we're actually able to, you know.
Exactly.
But I think one point that you said, which was, happiness, but not necessarily
Pleasure.
pleasure, or not necessarily like this external thing, but like
Yeah.
real, in the real sense,
Exactly.
happiness, fulfillment.
Fulfill. Exactly.
Um, that I think that's a good indicator or a good compass,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because it can relate to the moment in urgency, and also at the same time building something out that
Yeah.
can be sustained for 30, 40 years, 50 years, whatever it is,
Exactly.
you know? So I think that's a good point. And I think I agree on that. Like the first thing that comes to mind, like if I knew when I would die, what would change today? I think the first thing that comes to mind in that is like a real sense of gratitude,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, which I guess echoes that
Mm-hmm.
fulfillment or that happiness, like
Mm-hmm.
to be absolutely grateful for the moment that my awareness is here
Mm-hmm.
and my presence is here.
Yeah.
Like to have that be a constant, consistent thing, you know? And yes, if there is um, urgency of like, yo, it's really close. I think I'll just like sit down and just do music. Just be in music, be drumming, be
Uh-huh.
doing all that kind of stuff. Um, not to say that I don't do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the day. But as far as that urgency, it kind of also it lets the worries of the world fade away,
Yeah.
right? Livelihood, making a living, sustaining oneself, all that kind of stuff is
Yeah.
like becomes so minute, and then the happiness slash pleasure in that moment becomes so heightened in gratitude. Like, all right,
Exactly.
from now until then, um, that expression of love. I think it will be in reality, honestly, because the question is asking what would change today, and I think it will be more of like a reinforcement
Of what you're already up
of,
to.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
like it will be more of a reinforcement of that.
Yeah. I feel that.
You know, like it's really interesting because I don't necessarily feel that I'm off.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like it'll be more of a doubling down,
I
or
agree.
it's already that, and it's like just that's why with the gratitude, even it's like even a deeper sense of gratitude, whatever that may be.
Yeah.
A deeper sense of love and compassion in the world, whatever that, like it's already on that, but it's like it will be more of a yeah, like doubling on that or going deeper on that.
What do you think about this idea of people have about like legacy? Like,
Mm.
do you have the desire to leave a legacy, whatever that might mean to you?
Mm. I think I've thought about that at some point. I don't know if I went far with it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think the way that I think about legacy is in real shared presence,
Yeah.
and that's it. Like things, whatever legacy, whatever culturally we understand legacy to be, will fade away.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Even the legacies that we have now that may be 6,000, 8,000, 9,000 years legacies, are nothing to
Time.
time or to the legacy of the person who created fire for the first time. Who's
Oh,
that?
right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, what is that? It all kind of goes into the ocean. It just settles down into the ocean. It becomes completely part of it, right?
Yeah.
However, the legacy in the sense of, at least that's how for me, shared presence, and that presence, the transformational power and effect of real presence,
Hmm.
like that. I think of it, if I think of it, which I don't really think of legacy like that, it would be in those kind of terms.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
And what do you think about this idea of living every day as if it was your last? Is that what you mean by? Are you already doing that? And if you knew it was next week, you'd be doubling down on whatever it looks like in your life now.
Yeah.
So you're already living your life as if every day is your last.
Not in those terms. Like, I don't consciously wake up and
Mhm.
think about, like, okay, today might be the last day that I have.
Yeah.
Maybe at some level, but not consciously. I'm not telling myself that. I don't have that language
Yeah.
within me. However, the language that I do have, which I think is similar, maybe just different texture, is, am I meeting the moment? What is the moment requiring?
Hmm.
And from that point, or from that perspective, it is similar to, what if this is the last day, or what if this is the last moment,
Yeah.
right? It's the same. It's kind of the same, just slightly different texture or slightly different perspective, but it's really the same
Yeah.
kind of ground, you know? Yeah. Which becomes more about, like, the moment itself and how I'm meeting that moment
Hmm.
in real time, in real life.
Is that relating to that concept of child of the moment? Is that what you
Right.
how you phrased it before?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am I am I giving the moment its
Hmm.
proper due?
Right. And is that real? I guess that has a relationship with integrity, authenticity, self-expression,
You know?
emotional honesty, all that
Yeah.
kind of stuff,
Yeah.
self-disclosure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like,
Gratitude.
mhm. Yeah, it becomes, the moment just becomes heightened, I guess,
Hmm.
or becomes real. It just
Hmm.
becomes real,
Hmm.
you know? Not every moment, but that's kind of the compass. If somebody says, oh, okay, are you living, am I living each day as if it's my last?
Hmm.
That might, I guess that question would have to ultimately lead someone to look at their day in terms of moments, right? Regardless.
Hmm.
And then that moment,
Yeah.
are they meeting it in that moment? And it doesn't necessarily have to be this um, grand thing,
Yeah.
you know?
I think of it like this idea of this witness value that we often talk about, or the observer, sort of the awareness behind the thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Um, the awareness that's aware that it's hearing, or that it's thinking, or that it's feeling.
Mm-hmm.
That witness quality, the continuity of that witness quality growing throughout my day, throughout my choices, throughout my behavior,
Mm-hmm.
like an everyday always happening in terms of my awareness
Mm-hmm.
being present of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, it would be, like, I mean, we've all had that experience where we're driving in the car and we end up at our destination and don't remember all the
Yeah.
lights and stops we made to get there because we
Yeah.
were lost somewhere else, unaware of ourselves
Yeah.
while it was happening. We were lost in thoughts, lost in emotion. There was no symmetry or continuity between
Mm-hmm.
those aspects of ourselves.
Which is even today, that's even more and more becoming an issue, even
Mhm.
just on a surface level,
Mhm.
right? You find people, especially in driving, as an example, but this can be applicable,
Across the board.
even used as a metaphor, right? People are in the cars, even if you're driven, right? They're on their phone.
Mhm.
People don't know their way around without a GPS.
Mhm.
They don't. It's because they're not even familiar. Like they don't know how to go from work to their house. If they take one, if there's a detour,
Mhm.
it's like you got to put the GPS on in order to find their way back.
Right.
Because even while driving or being driven, their attention is completely sucked somewhere else.
Exactly.
Whether it's the attention is folding back on itself and now they're in a loop, you know, or they're being driven and they're just on the phone, like everything happening. But imagine that as a metaphor for really
Yeah.
life
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah.
What about legacy? And what's the other question that you asked me? If you
Living every day like it's your last.
do you think about that?
I do think about legacy.
And has
But
it
in my
changed over
unique
the
way,
years? Mm-hmm.
it's definitely changed over the years because before I didn't think about that at all. I didn't think about it really until I looked at my poetry differently. Because really, for my life, my poetry had only really been for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's how I process happiness, mostly how I process pain,
Mm-hmm.
things like that. But being at MIU, Maharishi International University, and taking the Vedic science classes and learning about the Vedas and how so much of them was, done in poetry and in song and things like that, and figuring out that relationship between imagination and mental emotional processing, the observer, the observed, and the process of observation, all those things. I started to understand that like my extension on that legacy is probably my poetry and things that I can put out that other people can understand the effect of observer, process of observation and observed through their own lens.
Mm-hmm.
By seeing the things that I've written and
Mm-hmm.
being reflective about it in their own life.
Mm-hmm.
Because everyone's not going to be able to read all the different scriptures in the world, all the different sacred scriptures, whether it's the Quran, the Bible, or the Bhagavad Gita. Your life, your poetry,
Mm-hmm.
how you're living might be the only sacred text that someone ever reads, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like I want a real representation of that, not only in how I'm living, like from the sacred to the profane, but also in my written work, like
Mm-hmm.
so people understand that, like, well, firstly, I understand that, like, I am in process.
Mm-hmm.
I am a human being in transitus. Like, this is not a static end point for me. I'm not fixed in time or space.
Mm-hmm.
So while I'm here, I'd like my vibration, my presence to, if it in any good way, affect
Mm-hmm.
the reality that's here,
Mhm.
to have some kind of impact, hopefully for the good,
Yeah. Yeah.
and at the very least, something that someone can see, whether it's in my writing or my life, and be like, oh, I'm gonna process that and see whether I'm about that or not. Whether this person has introduced a different way of seeing the world to me or not. I want to ignite that perpetually in myself, but in every space that I enter. Like the distinctions that's all around us and how we get to choose between an infinite array of possibilities for the garment or life we want to walk into. I see that as legacy. And I think it's cousin to what you said as far as like honest presence, to be my legacy, and to answer that second question about like living every day as if it was my last, yeah, I think there is some quality of that more and more in my life. The more the people that I love transition out of body, die, Um, I feel like my own physiology and the way I'm treating it gets called into question.
Mm-hmm.
The time that I'm spending here, whether I'm using it and for all it's worth,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
gets called into question.
Yeah.
Um, whether or not I'm a true, honest iteration of the man I want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that, like I said, is not static. That I perpetually move in a direction towards um, an ever, an infinite blooming,
Mm-hmm.
always growing.
Yeah.
Never static, always open to alert novelty and new information, new connections, all that kind
Mm-hmm.
of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like living every day as if it was my last is definitely in the context of how I'm living, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Um, More so than ever before.
Mm-hmm.
But I am putting attention towards, the practical things of what that has to be done in terms of like life and living and
Right.
food and bills and
Right.
all that kind of stuff and all the practical stuff.
Yeah.
But oftentimes it's like, yo, like what I'm doing now, where I'm at right now,
Mm-hmm.
is nowhere else I'd rather be
Mm-hmm.
than
Mm-hmm.
what I'm doing, than who I'm with right now.
Yeah.
It's my intentional choice.
Yeah.
It's not happenstance.
Yeah.
I didn't trip up into it. I made a choice
Mm-hmm.
and I'm moving in that direction.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I feel like that choice is based on not just all the narrative and conditioning that's happened in the past that's built up to the moment, but also some level of transcendence, some level of washing the
Mm-hmm.
canvas clean
Mm-hmm.
and choosing from a place of nothingness
Mm-hmm.
and creating something that is counterintuitive
Mm-hmm.
than what my mind or a static self or narrative of myself thought to be possible.
Mm-hmm.
I want to always be at that leading edge of my evolution
Mm-hmm.
and my growth outside of the box of what I think I know and the knowledge that I think I have or what people might impose on me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a long answer.
Yeah. But that was gold in there.
Mhm.
And it's like even talking about the time, the use of time and the conscious
Mhm.
decision and choice that's being made and knowing the real intention,
Mhm.
that seed that's and that's the thing about like the self-reckoning challenge that we've been doing, like it
Mhm.
allows for these questions of time to be now not something that's running in the background or something that's being set aside, like how is that time spent?
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
In which way am I awake
Mhm.
during the time that's being spent,
Mhm.
or am I putting myself to sleep
Mhm.
and sleep?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
am I awake? Am I conscious? Am I aware of what's happening? That I'm using my time consciously
Yeah.
and towards whatever it is that's the intention
Mm.
at the bottom or at the seed of it, at the most core level of it,
Yeah.
that time is being spent in that way rather than zombied out, mechanical
Facts,
out. Things kind of like a hamster wheel in a sense, or walking on a treadmill,
Mhm.
thinking that you're going somewhere, but you're just getting tired, just walking in the same spot.
Yeah.
So that time and that practice of muhasabah or self account, it really, I mean, for me, just for me, throughout the day, it makes my awareness of time become more real and how my actions are related to time in
Yeah.
that moment. So not only just if I am I meeting the moment, but in which way am I meeting the
Yeah.
moment? Am I meeting the moment um, avoiding some other moment that I should be actually,
Exactly.
you know what I mean? Like,
Exactly.
so it is some kind of like fine balance,
Yeah.
between that time, because there's also sometimes if we're hyper vigilant or become self-conscious of the time so much, we don't allow for rest. We won't know when sleep is necessary. You know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like it's almost like having your eyes wide open all go to sleep.
Yeah.
You know, so it's a fine balance. You know, rest and activity. What does rest look like?
Hmm.
You know, and if there's hypervigilant, it can sometimes um, say that rest is not necessary or starts to create guilt and shame around rest.
Yeah.
So it's like it really is a, a you are the only person to know.
Facts.
You know what I mean? But being able to have that clarity, enough clarity in order to make that discernment,
Yeah.
for oneself.
Yeah. That brings up this idea of regret and guilt
Mm-hmm.
and how to deal with regret, guilt, and shame.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of like the self-reckoning practice or the self-accounting and things like that. And I ask myself, even in terms of like the opposite angle from legacy, like, do I have regrets now or any guilt or any shame? And yeah, definitely. But one thing that comes up mostly is regret around not having the consciousness or awareness to spend more time with my mom before she
Mm-hmm.
died.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I feel like even though we bumped heads and we argued and all this stuff, and I had to put up, or I chose to put up certain boundaries, um, so that I could. What I told myself was I can keep growing and stuff like that, and not stay in certain boxes. And I know all of us at some time have to individuate, and find our way forward. But I wish that I would have been able to grow in consciousness and nervous system regulation enough to assist her in her own stabilization of her nervous system and um, things like that. Because, they always say people are dealing with so many things that we'll never know about.
Right.
And, she a black woman growing up in America,
Mm-hmm.
born in 1941, all the shit that she probably done been through and seen,
Mm-hmm.
much of it that I know, but couldn't really understand the gravity or weight of it
Mm-hmm.
until I got much older and she'd already transitioned, to understand like the level of onslaught that she protected and shielded me from,
Mm-hmm.
sacrificing her own nervous system
Mm-hmm.
and her own stability in order for me to have a chance to
Mm-hmm.
have some level of coherence and mental emotion, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I wish I could have shown while she was still here. So I am making progress, and so much so that I can pour into you like you've poured into me.
Mm-hmm.
So there is regret, there is some shame, there's some guilt there.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that, I'm human and it's part of the process, but it would be a lie if I didn't call the thing a thing and say, yo, that's there also,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I imagine that it's still teaching lessons that I don't know about.
Mm-hmm.
And those lessons in themselves, probably even now, will become part of the legacy that I'm leaving.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I get that even now, me and my body and my nervous system finding its way through different iterations of self regulation is also an extension of the legacy that she's left,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And so I'm just looking at all those things and how they
Yeah.
fit together: guilt, regret, shame, but also legacy,
Mm-hmm.
and how this idea of consciousness is moving itself through each individual and through life and lifetimes.
Yeah.
Like there's some continuity of awareness that is blind or has gaps
Mm-hmm.
even unto itself as its species. Is like we have these moments in our individual self of awakenings and
Mm-hmm.
perspective and expanded perception, and then we collapse
Mm-hmm.
in this ignorance and this violence and this anger and this jealousy and all
Yeah.
these things. And I think it's always oscillating through us as a species, regardless of the legacies that we're left with, in a similar way or in the same way as oscillating through each individual person.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's one of the reasons why Maharshi said that each person is one individual unit of world peace.
Mm-hmm.
And so, for us to ever have any grasp on world peace, we have to deal with those shadows and those demons, those enemies inside ourselves
Mm.
that is ignorance and
Mhm.
causes us to lose the continuity of awareness.
Mm-hmm.
I imagine our ultimate legacy is this expansion of awareness in ourselves, but also into society.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the when you were talking about like the past or uh, these feelings that are still true today. That well, not well, I guess true. You're saying that they are there, right? Feelings of guilt or wishing you acted a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
but like those kind of uh, feelings, it reminded me of, and this is like left field, but you know when I think maybe it was one of first Kanye's winning Grammys or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and he won it, and he was like, everybody was wondering what would Kanye do if he didn't win. I guess we'll never know.
Mm-hmm.
And this idea that he, we would never know
Yeah.
what, like all of these things are somehow existing and shaping the current reality
Mm-hmm.
and how it shows up today.
Exactly.
All of these things. And if it was different or whatever it is, we like would we be even the same person or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And there's no way of knowing. Really, in reality, there's no way of knowing. However, the thing that can be examined or maybe allowed to disclose itself in what it's showing is this moment and how we're meeting these feelings and these thoughts and these emotions and these things that are coming up to the surface.
Facts.
It also reminds me of one of Rumi's, I think it's like a famous poem where he says these things come, I don't know, I'm gonna butcher it, but like these things are coming to your door or to your house as guests.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome them in with nice hospitality as you let them go with nice hospitality. You know what I mean? Like to be able to see what gifts they're bringing with them, even though on the surfaces they may not be gifts. They may look like enemies to us or whatnot, but it's the real true thing that we can possibly do because it's still showing up in the moment, even though it's something that happened. Whatever residue or whatever thought or whatever it is still coming up in that moment. You know, so to meet it properly, you know, because otherwise we would never know, you know, like really, there's no way. And when I say no, I mean capital K.
Exactly.
Like, because otherwise it'll just be, you know, assumptions or logical, rational justifications or using the imaginations to now draw and create a whole different timeline and
rewriting history.
And now we're focused on that timeline that if it was this and if it was that, and then get lost in that imagination and
now we're not present.
Right? And now we come back to this reality and like, no, but I want to be there.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So like these things that are like coming or showing up in real time in real moments and allowing for that disclosure to come in, and really the disclosures from ourselves to ourselves, really.
Exactly.
You know. Yeah. Alhamdulillah. Well, okay. That's good. That was question number 1.
All right.
We're good on that?
Yes, sir.
starting hot. with death. That was good. Yeah. I mean, it's such a interesting topic, right? It's something that we don't necessarily um,
Talk
talk too
about.
much about. You know, sometimes it's probably we think about it, you know, or maybe it's happening in like a subconscious way. It's definitely
Yeah.
there's some kind of mechanism that is, but to really face it head on,
Yeah.
you know, sometimes that we don't necessarily get to do. Um, you know, one thing that, as I have this other question coming up, but one thing that I remembered of these meditations, like within traditions about or meditations on death. You know, there's one of the meditations that I remember within the Sufi tradition of like lying down and imagining and envisioning you in the grave or the individual in the grave, and this transition that's happening from womb to womb, right? Like you're just moving from one womb to another, from one womb to another. And their view is that coming to this world, not only we are our physical bodies went through womb to this world that's another womb, but also our spiritual bodies were in a womb and then now are in this womb, and then we'll go back into from this leave this womb and go into another womb that it's all part of the same womb, you know what I mean? But having meditating on that topic of death and transition and what it brings up, and I'm like all of the things that came about and even talking about it, these things that would probably come to the surface, kind of like the questions you ask: legacy, time, what am I doing, what is the real thing, how am I showing up, am I actually living it, what is my inner state, do I need to attend to that, what all of these things, which this is the second question: is life random or chosen? This is something we kind of touched on during the week for us, right? Because we were talking one time, we were talking about free will.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about
wave or particle.
Wave particle. We talked about, you know, eating from the mulberry tree. These are written for me. Like, is it random? Is there choice? And is the question itself so uh, polarized? Is the question itself like, is it really one or the other?
Exactly. There's so many things to this question because, all right, ask the question one more time for me.
Is life random or chosen?
Is life random or chosen? This goes into like what? Predeterminism and like
free will,
fate and free will and stuff like that. And I mean, it would just be easy to say it's both, but like if I said it's both, how do I mean, right? And
what you're thinking?
I was going to say, I heard this thing that a mentor of mine, Tom Magnus, taught us.
When Antoine does this, he's deep in thought.
His name is Tom Magnus. Awesome, Dr. Tom Magnus. And he has this Sanskrit word or phrase, I think it's called sat asat. And it means both real and unreal or something like that. And it's speaking about a reality that is existing within itself on multiple levels, right? Like it's both real and unreal. It's unreal in the sense that it's always changing. It's always oscillating and vibrating. And if we want to call what's real something that never changes, something that's always static and the same, then this is certainly not real. Right? Because we already know that we're oscillating particles, waves, and all this other stuff
Yeah.
fermions and bosons and all this other stuff.
Mhm.
But yet there is something that's very static about it all.
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, and it would be a misrepresentation, an oversimplification to call it an illusion,
Mhm.
to just like count it as all illusion
Mhm.
also, right? Like we know that if I do that, like I'm standing on something solid, and
Mhm.
yet at the same time, we know that that's a
Yes. Yes.
particles.
Yeah. That in
you know?
reality, they're probably at the quantum level. They're not even touching.
Exactly.
Mhm.
So when we think about this question, to say both, I think is speaking to there is a level of reality that's quantum mechanical, right? And there's a level of reality that's quantum physics, if I got those two
Wait,
phrases
what?
correct. Like bullet ball mechanics,
Like
gross
Newton, you're
level.
talking about Newton physics and quantum physics.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I got those things
I
mixed
think
up.
you're talking about the same thing when you say quantum mechanics and quantum physics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you're talking Newton meaning like kind of like balls just like hitting each other.
Exactly.
And then the other one where it's just like
Yeah.
fields.
Yeah, exactly. Fields oscillating within themselves. And so if both of those realities are true, then you can't really say this or that. Like the answer to that question would be based on the level of consciousness that you're speaking from, I imagine. Like, if your world is bullet ball mechanics, Newton,
Yeah.
If that's how you're experiencing reality, then I guess what perception is reality. But if your perception has expanded to a point to where your actual lived experience is not just bullet ball mechanics, but also a quantum physical reality,
Yeah.
then it's both. You get to experience and live as unity consciousness, where I am that, all this is that, but also um, you're embodied. So you're universal and particular simultaneously. And if that's the case, then you can't really choose one or the other in a practical lived life. It's always both happening, but the question is, what do you have access to? I imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
No,
if
I
you
get. Yeah.
do you have if you had access to a quantum mechanical reality, it would allow you to leverage everything that's the causation of, right? Like you can leverage the very structure of reality from that point. But from um, the bullet ball mechanics, you have to operate with with matter on this level.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
when you're saying because I want to tie it back to the random versus choice. You're saying that it depends on the perception of which
your consciousness is existing at, or your awareness is existing at in consciousness.
Okay.
Meaning, because if you are, let's say, in unity consciousness,
What does it mean to say random? Like, how would you unity? Like, what does random mean in that sense that you're talking about? I think you're touching on it, but for me, it's still slightly outside.
Let's see if I could approach it from a different place.
Or no, like because you're talking about unity consciousness, let's say.
Yeah.
What within the random or chosen, where would that be?
Outside of it.
Yeah. Okay. So that's okay. So I'm still feeling that. Yeah. It's still kind of.
It would be like right, like, because if something is in space and time, and you're in space and time, then you could track it to a certain point, but to a certain point you can't track it no more, and it might look random. You can't see from where it came. You can't see as far as it's going. But if you're an awareness that is sitting outside space and time, then absolutely nothing looks random to you, because you are that. You experience it all simultaneously. It's probably all happened already. I don't know how to really express it, but like it's two knowledge is different in different states of consciousness. In one state of consciousness, if you're within the matrix, then anything happening in the matrix you can follow to a certain extent, but at a certain point your vision will not go as far enough to say where that thing came from, or your hearing won't, kind of like, it's different frequencies. It's only a certain level you can go to where reality would just absolutely collapse.
Yeah.
But outside of space and time, where I would imagine, or I think that there is infinite abstraction, infinite consciousness moving within itself, time and matter is rising from that space. So if time and matter is rising from that space, then nothing is random there. It's not random. It's all coherent and intelligent from that perspective. But from inside the game, yeah, it totally appears as random.
Yeah. That's the thing about, like, I don't know, when I hear the words of like quantum mechanics, quantum physics, a lot of the people who are studying that, who are, the physicists, the leading people in that study, some of them would have the worldview of things are random, even at the wave, from the most, which compared to the Newton physics,
right,
that is the most subtle, right? The quantum mechanics most subtle way, which when I hear this question about random life, is life random or is it chosen, right? In like, what does it mean for someone to have a worldview, either or kind of worldview in their day-to-day, like, unless they're completely enlightened and are at the universal consciousness and are, God in the flesh, that they can exist in outside of space-time and in space-time. Unless that's the case, there's this still level of duality, even within the question of is life random or is it chosen?
Yeah.
And the thing of it, answering both, which sometimes may seem like it's a lazy kind of approach, right? But even in like just regular, as you said, like the Newton thing, like, for me as a human being, as this individual, did I have a choice in where I was born, who my parents were, the upbringing, the location, the time, the era, like, you know what I mean, that I was born into, just as this human being, not even trying to take it and like, oh, somewhere before you came, you actually chose this thing,
But does that, when you say that, you're relating that's analogous to randomness, or?
Yeah, meaning like it wasn't necessarily chosen,
by you.
Right.
You didn't. So, in other words, it would seem random to you because you didn't choose it.
Right.
Okay.
Like it didn't have a choice in the matter of that would be born the year that I was born, in the time, you know what I mean? In that particular occasion, for those particular parents, with that lineage, with all of these things,
Right.
was it actually, I don't know, for myself, I don't think I was conscious or maybe I don't remember, as some people would say, oh, these things were actually chosen, but you just don't remember it. Maybe, but just for me right now,
right,
what does it mean, to have randomness or choice? And at the same time, for the other flip side, like, because I know there's also this thought that, you're creating the reality. Everything that's happening in your life is your choice some way, somehow, and then, God forbid, some terrible stuff happen. and that worldview doesn't like, I'm like, no. Like,
I wouldn't have chose this.
yeah, sometimes accidents happen. Like, I believe in accidents also. You know what I mean? So like, something happens, God forbid, and somebody with that worldview comes and says, somewhere, somehow you chose this.
Yeah.
And it's like, back off a little bit. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like,
yeah.
or maybe it was an accident, like,
Right.
but I'm not running away from the responsibility of dealing with it
Right.
or meeting it, but to also meet it and then, or have to deal with it, and then have the idea and the burden that this is, I created this, like,
Yeah.
this terrible thing happened
Yeah.
because I chose it some way, somehow within myself, and
Yeah.
you know.
People who speak like that, this is my judgment, they're saying it, but they, you know how the phrase just goes around now.
Mhm.
You know, you chose it, you created it, you this, you that, like as if all responsibility was from you or from me. But like, where does that understanding come from?
Mhm.
Usually you can't find the source of that understanding in the mainstream of people who are talking like that, right?
Mhm.
Now, for someone to, let's say when Buddha said, I am awake,
Mhm.
or when someone in the Veda said, I am that, I am all this
Mhm.
is that.
Mhm.
From that level of experience, they are having an understanding that, oh, like there is no separation between me and the
Yes.
universe.
Yeah.
From that source experience of consciousness, they are saying something like, oh, I created all of this.
Right. Yeah.
For someone to come not in that level of consciousness or experience and now start repeating the same thing,
Yeah.
and spouting it in spaces and places that
Mhm.
it doesn't fit the context,
Mhm.
that's when you have
Yeah.
people arguing against something that's not even really
Right.
a real stance of what people are, or what anyone who's had the experience is actually
Mhm.
saying.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
They are the person who's having that experience, or if you had a taste, you understand that they are in relationship with yourself at the deepest level,
Yeah.
which connects them to this infinite membrane
Yeah.
of consciousness and awareness that is outside of space-time, but existing locally as a
Yes. Yes.
node in space-time.
Yeah. Every conversation, every action, everything is from it to it.
Facts.
Yeah. And it's happening. It's happening within that container, and at the same time, it's not falling prey. Is that the word? Not falling prey
Uh-huh.
to bypassing that moment.
Facts.
You know what I mean?
Facts. So when someone just comes because they read it in a book and say, you are creating your reality and you are is missing
Mhm.
the actual context
Yeah.
in which an experience like that is said.
Yeah.
And now you're just going around trying to empower people,
Mhm.
or trying to cast guilt, whatever your
Mhm.
thing is, but it's out of context.
Yeah.
You don't have, the person don't have the wherewithal to understand where that's spoken from.
Yeah.
And so they'll use it in situations that it's not appropriate.
Right.
You know?
And the subtleties in the experience while the shift is happening from the smaller level of awareness as it starts to expand into these bigger level of awareness and consciousness,
Mm-hmm.
right? That shift as it's happening, things and accidents, let's say at the smallest, most tight uh, level of awareness, or maybe mechanical, an accident happens,
Mhm.
and the reaction is not always, but most of the time is met with, oh, why me?
Mhm.
Why this? This like victim to the randomness of reality,
Right.
right? Victim to that accident, whatever it may be, that thing that happened that was somehow not pleasant or created some kind of thing, and now meeting of that experience is of victimhood,
Yeah.
powerless, from that space. And as awareness is being, or perception is being refined to expand in these larger and larger, right, the response to that moment is an actual response, rather than, it becomes like a conversation, something that we spoke about
Exactly.
when, now it's a conversation that's happening with reality, that you're meeting it as it's
Exactly.
talking to you, um, and not having to put it in these dual boxes of, am I choosing this, or you're just meeting it, just is,
Yeah.
it just is, and you're meeting with it in, or playing with it in that regard,
Mm-hmm.
right, rather than, oh, why did this happen to me, or like, I created this, I gotta do better,
Right.
you know what I mean,
Right.
like these extreme polar parts of the spectrum. But then it just becomes a conversation where life becomes that curriculum, or that
Exactly.
course, or that,
Exactly.
and there's constant regenerative refinement of that
I
perception,
agree.
more and more and more and
I
more and
agree.
more.
Like the so-called node of reality is always and ever in conversation with universality,
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. And but the problem is, if the node is unaware that it's in conversation with the universality,
Yeah.
or its deepest sense of self, if I'm gonna
Yeah.
call it that. I heard another teacher at MIU, with president of MIU, I think he's still the president, John Hagelin, say that the large S self acts with enmity. I think that's
With
the
what?
word. Enmity? Enmity? I think it
Enmity?
means, I think that's the word. Yeah,
Oh, I
yeah.
don't know.
To the small
I
S
don't know how to
self.
say it.
And
Enmity or something.
um, it's speaking to the dullness
Mm.
of the know to know itself as wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
And so it goes around bumping up against and,
Yeah.
trying to exist in isolation when it's
Mm-hmm.
part of a wholeness.
Mm-hmm.
And until that awareness gets refined to it being part of a wholeness, it can see how it can dance a little bit better in the as a node
Yeah.
in this wave of
Yeah.
reality.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. It's not stepping on toes. It's not, yeah.
Exactly. And that's not to say what the node caused an accident will not occur,
Mm-hmm.
or a mistake won't happen.
Right.
It's just that the context
Yeah.
would be different.
Mm-hmm.
It would be, mm, it's hard for me to say it like this, but it would feel more of the wave
Mm-hmm.
happening in this isolated, like,
Yeah.
in terms of the context of
Yeah.
awareness experiencing. It's like the imagine a raindrop experiencing a huge wind. It blows it anywhere. But
Yeah.
imagine the ocean experiencing the wind.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Mhm.
your feel independence, if you will, is just it's just more gravitas
Yeah.
to it, and more relationship with reality. But I was saying that to point at this idea that where who's calling something a mistake in an accident, like,
Mm.
and why are we doing that, right? Because
Mhm.
something is harmful or violent, or
Mhm.
just, I didn't intend for that to happen. From that perspective, it's this node having experience. It's true, accidents, mistakes, all this kind of stuff. But from the deepest sense of self and of awareness, it's wholeness curving back on itself, having an experience in this reality. I think from that perspective, it might sit outside of what we're considering to be, at our level, morality. You know, I think we
But
had this
like,
conversation before in terms of like a volcano exploding and hurting people. That's
yeah.
seen as an accident, of natural causes. I don't know how they would
Mhm.
describe that. And that's also in um, this wholeness or reality moving, but we don't impose morality on it, like the volcano was
Mhm.
bad for what it did.
Mhm.
I think at the level of, let's say, the earth, the planet, the universe, our concepts of morality and accident and those type of terms break down to a certain extent.
Yeah. But like for the person, as you were talking, like I can't help but think about people, a person who are like, no, it's just random. The Big Bang is random act, all of that. We don't know what happened before. Really, scientists,
Mm-hmm.
there's nothing really to quote unquote point at and prove,
Right.
right? It's just all speculation at that point. And that everything from there is just a bunch of random things that happen, and we're just here trying to
Yeah.
survive, you know what I mean? And these things can be accident or no accidents. And the way that we're talking about it is a way of soothing ourselves from the
Mm-hmm.
reality of the randomness of
Mm-hmm.
the entirety of this whole existence.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, that person kind of comes to mind when I hear these
Mm-hmm.
or this something question like this, whether
Yeah.
it's random, chosen, or decreed, meaning like even the choice that we choose is already in place or
Mm-hmm.
already destined to happen.
Yeah.
Do we have any change in the matter? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Whether I chose or didn't choose, my choice was already destined to be
Mm-hmm.
part of the play
Mm-hmm.
or part of that randomness. Does it give us? Does it feel good to have some level of autonomy in
Mm-hmm.
feeling that our choices actually do have an impact?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like when I think
Yeah.
about it, I don't have an answer for it. I really
Mm-hmm.
don't. But like the only thing that I have to it is just my own experience and how I would like to move around with it.
Yeah.
Right. But that randomness or if things are written or not written, decreed or not, like,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can choose. That's even going back to that, right? I could choose to live and see the world from that, you know, just kind of like
Yeah.
material,
Yeah.
even to the quantum mechanics, that's still material, right?
Yeah.
Materialist in that view is like, okay, this is just randomness, and then we happen to exist in this magnificent universe, right? We kind of spoke about this,
Mm-hmm.
this idea, like even within that randomness, to have this universe that's 13 something billion years and the earth being 4.6 or something like that
Yeah.
billion years, a third of the life of the universe. And then for all of this stuff to happen, and then
Yeah.
for us to
Yeah.
come up on this earth and then look back at this, you know, I can see that like, okay, random, and yet here I am.
Yeah. I think you said something earlier about wombs. Was
Mhm.
that in this talk or was that when we were talking privately?
No, here.
It was in this talk?
Yeah.
And you said wombs within wombs kind of thing?
Yeah, like meditating on death. Oh, that was the meditation on death. From
Oh,
womb to another womb, from womb
yeah.
to another womb.
Maharshi has this thing he says sometimes, world within worlds. And I think it's relevant to this conversation because there is, I think, a container that we share. You know,
Wait, when you say that we, you mean like large we or we? What do you mean?
the large we and the we, the smaller
Uh-oh.
we, like worlds within worlds,
Uh,
containers within containers,
mm-hmm.
Russian dolls kind of thing
Oh, yeah, yeah,
happening.
yeah.
Um, the whole consciousness is different in different states of consciousness. Knowledge is different in different states of consciousness. And depending on, even Bashar might speak about this a little bit, like stepping into different worlds and things like that based on your choices and stuff like that. But I wanted to say something about this idea of free will. If it's happening in a specific container or world, and this world could be anything. This world could be we share a kind of similar culture or
Mhm.
tradition,
Mhm.
or even the same kind of thinking,
Mhm.
or we're in the same apartment building,
Mhm.
or the karma, if you will, or the free will of that container is based on the parameters of that container.
Mhm.
So what you can do and how you can move might be infinite, but inside that container, kind of like if we were on a plane, if the container or the world we were talking about was a flight going from New York to Chicago, on that flight,
Chirac.
on that flight, we have probably an infinite number of choices we can do on that flight,
Mhm.
right? But that flight is a container that's doing a specific thing.
Mhm.
It's going from New York to Chicago. And if, let's say, that destination, landing safely, was going to happen, everyone in that flight could be making all manner of free will choices,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm. Mhm.
But that flight is going to a specific destination.
Yeah.
I think it's the same thing in terms of collective consciousness.
Mhm.
Each person, family, community
Mhm.
have a set of laws and agreements that
Yes.
they
Yeah.
have to lean into. Is the karma of that specific collective
Mhm.
consciousness,
Mhm.
and it might be like wombs within wombs, world within worlds.
Yeah.
And as your awareness expands out of that general locale of that consciousness
Yes.
of the collective, you have some full independence to maybe jump between worlds,
Mhm. Mhm.
jump between flights.
Yes.
You know what I mean? But if your awareness is bound to the container from New York to Chicago, you can do an infinite number of possibility and things on that container going to that destination.
Mm.
But you're all going on that
Yeah.
destination because you're sharing this collective trip or ride together.
Yeah.
It's a similar thing in terms of, I think, free will, and choice and
Yeah.
all these things. We
Yeah.
all have it, but it's based on the containers of awareness, containers of family, tradition that
Yeah.
we're
Laws, natural law,
laws,
all of it.
natural
Yeah.
laws that we're involved in.
Yes.
Um, and it's only our awareness expanding that gives us the ability to
Yeah.
jump between worlds.
Yeah.
For example, until someone created the plane, no one could travel that way.
Mhm.
That shifted everything in the world, right? Like we can get from New York to Chicago in 2 hours as opposed to what, 23 hours on the train.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Someone had to have that concept, and they opened up a new world of consciousness,
Mhm.
of possibility and moving about.
Yeah.
And what looked to be before to society like, oh, that's against the laws of physics. You want me to fly through the air and a giant piece of metal?
Mhm.
What? At some point, that was someone was arguing that was against the laws of physics. As
Well, yeah.
and just I'll wrap it up right now. In terms of what we know about you know, what science thought about, I lost it a bit.
I thought you were
Uh,
gonna start talking about flying. Could
no,
remember with
I will get to that, but
no.
I was thinking about this idea of electromagnetism.
Mm.
When that was first discovered,
Mhm.
they couldn't fathom that electricity had any relationship to magnetism.
Mhm.
But after a lot of studies, someone had this concept and did the experiment, and then they understood that it's not just electric, it's not just magnetic, it's electromagnetic.
Mhm.
Two sides of one force.
Mhm.
Like these ideas step us out of one container of awareness, of consciousness, into a whole nother awareness of consciousness. It's it steps us out of um, free will or choice that is locked or bound by a certain thing,
Mhm.
but it takes for this node of universality to expand awareness and consciousness even a little bit,
Mhm.
to be able to walk through worlds,
Mhm.
to be able
Yeah.
to change timelines, to be able to like decide that the container that you're in, the choices that come with that container are not mutable,
Yeah.
are mutable. I don't know, one of those.
I guess both.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the way that um I also heard it like that as far as like being the what is it, like decreed, things being written, and you actually having some play within that writing. And it's that on the law level, right, natural law or whatever, like things are being contained within possibilities, right? Even the possibility of creating an airplane, there were the condition, there's always been the possibility of having airplanes. Always. That possibility would not have come, the manifestation of it would not have come to exist if the possibility of it didn't exist, right? So it's always, all of these things are existing in kind of like the barzakh, the liminal space, the space of possibilities, right? And then there's the laws that kind of, how you put it as airplane, right? Kind of it tightens what are the things that are possible within these sets of possibilities, And it's kind of like, if it does take place and if it does happen, then that possibility is already there. It's already, there's no new possibilities that ever be created.
Yeah.
It's not like it was not possible before and now it's possible. It's always possible. It's just the expanded awareness to tap into that possibility and having the possibility of refining skills or whatever it is, or actions, in order to make that action into reality, or manifest that possibility into 3D kind of this, so having this space that is space of infinite possibilities within infinite possibilities, and how we tap into it, or it's always available to us, and it's a matter of refining perception towards that. That's, which is similar to what you're saying, what way that I've heard it being expressed also. Like the laws of physics, which is very interesting also with mathematics. Like, that's why there's always this talk about, like, are we making math up or are we discovering math? Right? Are we making physics up or are we discovering it? It's like that. It's always, there's this space that these things exist in.
Exactly.
That is just,
exactly.
Is it, sometimes we're like, oh, it's a, are we making it up? Like, or is it discovered? Did we just stumble upon something that's so foundational in reality that's like, wait, what the heck?
Exactly.
E equal MC squared. What?
Exactly.
Like, did he make that up or did he discover that?
Was that random?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like,
and until another time, whatever, that comes in and then discovers that existed in some kind of possibility, and there's something even, let's say, deeper.
Yeah.
I don't know, but like in that kind of regard, like these quote unquote discoveries.
Discoveries.
Yeah.
I mean, this is left field, but I just found out that there's been a space station hovering over the planet for nearly 30 years. And I could have swear that,
the International Space Station.
Yeah, I was arguing with him like space station, like, because he said it. I'm like, space station. That's you mean? That's like in comic books or in the movies. We haven't gotten there yet. He's like, no, it's been there for like 30. I'm like, what? That's how I feel like
you jump timelines.
Like, just because, like, there's no way there could be a space station in space that for almost 30 years that I had never heard of.
Yeah.
As much as, I'm into like stuff in that direction, but I don't know, it just made me think of that.
I love it. Yeah, I remember that. You're like, no way, that's like sci-fi talk.
Yeah, a space station where people are living there months at a time, years at a time. What?
Yeah.
I mean, if you agree with me, if someone's out there that understand that, like, that wasn't a thing and that just happened out of the blue, say something. Because Seriously, like I'd never heard of that.
I love it.
For real.
Oh man, amazing. Okay, let's go. That was question number 2.
2 hours.
120, hour and 20 minutes.
Okay.
That's good. Okay, now we're going into slightly into more like morality, I guess, or into still this idea of choice,
Mhm.
you know. But what's the, there's at least some kind of understanding of what this relationship is with with reality and choice, um, or engagement. Maybe
Mhm.
that's a better word to
Mhm.
say. Engagement with reality.
Mhm.
This question is kind of in that in the level of morality, maybe, I guess, or I don't know. If there were no reward or punishment, would you still be good?
I mean, I think so. I guess we'll never know.
Right?
Um,
Yeah, because it's so tough. I mean, maybe I can understand it from different ways, right? Like it can be theologically the idea of reward and punishment, but even like psychologically or within ourselves, you know what I
if we're
mean?
gonna feel bad or not.
Yeah, if are we making ourselves, are we sooth talking ourselves? You know?
Sooth talking?
Yeah,
What's that mean?
like soothsaying,
Oh,
like we're just saying
like
whatever.
mystical or
Yeah, it's usually soothsaying is like almost like casting spells upon,
oh.
But like sooth talking or soothsaying meaning like we're just believing and shaping our experience in such a way that ultimately is for the better. It's for so that we can deal with ourselves in some type of way, so that we can function in reality,
Uh-huh.
right? If there's no reward or punishment, would you still be good? I mean, man, I don't know. What's up with this question?
When I make choices, I'm not really thinking about like whether uh whether it's, what is it, punishment or reward.
Yeah.
Maybe
Second,
at a deeper level. Oh,
yeah,
go ahead.
that's what I was gonna say. Because remember the first question we talked about death, and you said I would choose for fulfillment.
Yeah. So
Is
that's
that a
the reward?
reward?
If we look at it like that, then I guess so. I guess all the choices are based on reward or what?
Punishment.
Punishment. Yeah, because I guess, yeah, I guess so. If I look at it in terms of that kind of value, I was thinking in terms of when it
Like
asked the question,
theological.
yeah, theological, and I don't think in that
Yeah.
way. Like I'm not
Yeah.
concerned about heaven and hell and
Right.
that kind of stuff
Yeah.
in that way. But in terms of my internal heaven or hell, my own fulfillment or bondage
Yes.
or whatever we call it, yeah, then every choice is based on that. And would I choose differently if it wasn't a factor? I wouldn't. I don't think I'd exist or live if it wasn't a factor. I think our desire, for good or bad, is what drives us through life.
Yeah.
The physiology has desires. Got to go to the bathroom. I'm hungry. I'm horny. Whatever it is. The heart has desires, intimacy, connection, bonding. The mind has desires to grow, eat knowledge, and share knowledge. I mean, yeah, I think reward is hardwired into our very existence, and suffering. And whichever choice we choose to go in, we'll have that. But I'm not even sure if I answered the question. Did I?
I think so. In the kind of like painting the picture of what if there were no reward or punishment. The thing is like at the deepest level, what you're saying, I guess, is that we're regardless, we're probably moving from
Mhm.
these spaces of reward punishment, but internally of like, okay, it can look like fulfillment,
Yeah.
okay, or it can look like punishment might look like um, dishonesty
Yeah.
or unalignment or whatever it is that
Yeah.
might look like a form of punishment or bondage, how you'd said
Yeah.
it, or
Yeah.
suffering. Maybe that's a good
Mhm.
way to look
Mhm.
at it, right? And that even at that level, we're moving from that space. Now, the other part of the question is, would you still be good?
Shit, am I good now?
Which
Are
is,
you good?
you know, I think that maybe is talking about intention. Maybe I don't know. There's something here that I kind of feel something about intention. One
Mhm.
thing that also comes to mind is um, the Sufi mystic Rabi'a. She was from Baghdad, Basra, I think, or something like that. And
Mhm.
she was known for like going in the street with a torch of fire in her hand, right hand, and then bucket of water, and saying, God, if I worship you for heaven, close the gates of heaven and burn heaven for me.
Mm.
If I worship you for the fear of hell, uh, throw the bucket of water in hell or something like that. Like, let that be my dwelling,
Yeah.
you know, let me worship you for, I want to worship you for you only, kind
Mhm.
of in a sense, right? So
Mhm.
it's like, no, don't let my actions be driven, or my devotion in her case, be driven by whether I'm afraid of punishment or wanting a reward
Mm.
or paradise, quote unquote. But even within that, in how we said it, right? Does that create some kind of reward? Does her desire of intimacy
It's
within
already
herself is already a reward
exactly.
in that sense, right? Is it just now becoming more subtle so that on the surface one is not feeling that bondage, I guess,
Mm.
that you said, not feeling that they're going, I don't know, against what they're wanting to live and having
Yeah.
to live within a certain
Way.
framework.
Yeah. I think we got to be. I don't know, like, because now that we're talking about like God, right? In terms of this question, I think like in life, people have to be very careful about the attributes that we put on God that might come from tradition and culture, and somehow figure out a way to sift through them in a way that like is, I guess, personal. And
Yeah.
the only way I can think to do that is whatever someone's vehicle of transcendence might be, to
Hmm.
where it can go through the fire um, of I don't know, a level of truth deeper than thought life,
Yeah.
deeper than what's been imposed by another person's convictions,
Yeah.
because it will have you calling a virtue a vice and a vice a virtue.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like certain pre preconceived understanding of God from whatever tradition it might be from is always subject to the conditioning around us, including our own traumas and different things we've gone through.
Yeah.
And just because we've had like an enlightening experience once or twice does not suss out all of that from our nervous system, from our experience. So oftentimes we can impose things on ourselves that come from other places
Hmm.
that has shit to do with God,
Hmm.
in terms of this Satchitananda, this eternal bliss consciousness, this infinite source of love that supposedly God is,
Hmm.
you know?
Hmm.
And it has more to do about the human attributes
Hmm.
that people have imposed on God,
Hmm.
or our idea of God.
Yeah.
And so, in terms of reward and bondage, or reward and suffering, if it's still colored with those paintbrushes, I would want to dip that in some water and wash the canvas off, through transcendence or
Yeah.
whatever your vehicle is of transcendence, and then reapproach God or nature and even yourself through the most emotionally, mentally honest place from, you know, the most singular disposition you can have in terms of intimacy with yourself and God. And then if you need to recreate, re-experience that relationship based on lived experience.
Mm-hmm.
And you can cross-reference everything else that you might read from that actual relationship with a God, with a nature, with a reality
Mm-hmm.
that is naked and nude before you,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And you're showing up naked and nude, you know, in all aspects, to be sort of rebuilt, to know yourself in a way that has not been adulterated by society, whatever society that you're in,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And I get that it's some goal that comes with that, but I'm saying, you know, you have to wash it off or something, like, because convictions, you know, when they're not yours, it's dangerous.
Mm-hmm.
There's this verse in the Bhagavad Gita that said it's better to something than to live another man's dharma.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember exactly what it is. It's better to something than to live another man's dharma. It's better to what than to live another dharma. What is that quote? Can we find it? Is it coming up? It is better to live your own dharma imperfectly than to live an imitation of somebody else's life with perfection.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important.
Yeah.
And for many people, that's what they're doing with their spirituality.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's someone else's version that they're trying to live out, rather than be able to take what they gave you and build on your own.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What you about to say?
That movement is a non-ending movement.
Mm-hmm.
It's constantly, that's the cycle of engaging in life and with life, that you're constantly being conditioned, you know. And one might say that, or transcendence is its own kind of conditioning, you know, even if whatever kind of scientific stuff we're saying, like, oh, the brain is rewiring, rewiring into what? Into a different kind of conditioning, you know, that, like, it's all a continuation. It's never ending. That's the point.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, there's constantly, that washing is taking place constantly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's the point that is, I guess this is what you're saying, the leading edge of one's evolution. The point of the real honesty of one's experience of oneself at a particular moment, right? And that real honesty of experiencing oneself might be different in the next moment.
It's facts.
It might be different in the next moment. You know what I mean? And it can be conditioned that maybe there's some kind of a thread that's running through, but in reality, they're different, and that honesty is meant different. Whether it's, maybe we would want to say, maybe it's going deeper or whatever, broader or whatever it is, right? But that washing, and it does seem like maybe what you're pointing at is kind of like the first kind of wash of the conditioning of society, family, one's own repeated
thought life,
like the first wash of that, you know, like, that can allow for a peek at that gold. So that's like, oh, it starts to shine through, and then, but it's a constant, continuous meeting
Yeah.
that's taking place.
Yeah.
You know, that to get to a place of rest,
Yeah.
to say, I'm washed up now. I'm done.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like, and then start collecting dust without even you knowing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's such a continuous. That's why they say like it's a never ending.
Yeah.
It's a never ending way. It's a never ending thing.
Yeah. Because if they gotten to a point where they say I'm done, it's probably just their thought life that's talking.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And I guess I should break that down a little bit, just because your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions are aspects of you, but they are not you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and you don't know that until you know that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't know that you're the awareness listening to your voice until you know that you are the awareness listening to your voice.
Mm-hmm.
Until then, you experience your emotions, your feelings, your thoughts as you.
Yeah.
And you'll have a peak of awareness where you're like, oh shit, I'm not my thoughts, feelings, emotions. And then a couple of days later, you will be stuck to them again as you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I think that's what you mean by the continual wash.
Yeah.
And the continual wash, in my terminology, is transcendence. That's where you go to wash the canvas clean, not in thought life, but in actual practice, where it grows the observer, the witness, whether it's happening in whatever your vehicle of transcendence is. Its purpose is to wash your emotions, your mind, your thoughts clean. Really, I don't want to speak in that term, right? Wash them clean, because it gives some idea of purity and this kind of thing. Let's scratch that. The purpose of transcendence is to move awareness beyond thoughts, feelings, and emotions, to allow the physiology to experience itself at the most subtle state of awareness, where the world completely falls away and only pure awareness is there. There's only awareness aware of itself. There is no building, no color, no thought, no nothing, but awareness aware of itself. There's no thought, no mantra. In that space, when your mind and emotions and thought life and the narrative and personality that I think is me comes back online, if you will, because awareness moving in on itself is such a ineffable thing, the mind, the emotions, the thoughts will have many things to say about it, to point at. This is all the books that we read, sacred and non-sacred texts, that is seeking to describe this space that is absolutely ineffable. It will always be the finger pointing at the moon. But the point is, through whatever your vehicle of transcendence is, whether it's singing, meditation, prayer, dhikr, whatever that thing is, to return to it, to return to it. And after a while, the awareness quality, the nervous system's ability to be able to hold node and universality simultaneously will begin to structure in and of itself. And soon it will be a permanent state where you realize that, oh, my thoughts, feelings, and emotions are not me. Now I get to leverage them. I get to use them as lenses, as tools to walk around and be in reality. But now this witness value, the awareness value, is growing on the back end. The context of absolutely everything is growing on the back end. And so now, curving back on myself, now the return, now the dhikr, now the transcendental meditation, or whatever your vehicle of transcendence is, allows for the relationship with reality to be completely malleable. So whatever pants you want to put on God, you put them on. I'm a Christian, I'm a Sufi, I'm a Jewish, I'm Zoroastrian, but ultimately, awareness moving within itself, God will be God regardless of what God's name is. Reality will be reality regardless of what we choose to call it, now or in a billion years. Like, it is what it is, and it always was, is, and will be what it is. The question is, how much of it are we able to consciously participate in.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
Hope I don't get dragged calling people's religions out.
No, but that's the thing. All of these things that you mentioned is true. You know.
Oh, people talking. Oh, sorry, I cut you off.
Yeah, all of these things are true in those pants, and that's the thing. Like, we experiencing this 3D reality form is necessary. There's no way around it.
Yeah.
Even the language that we use to describe all of these things, it's all forms, it's all pants.
Facts.
It's all, whether it's quote unquote scientific, or whether it's theological, or whether it's mystical, or whether it's poetry, or whatever it is, it's here, and it's pants. And to be, you know what I mean, to be in that, you wear your pants, you're engaging, you gotta wash them. You gotta wash them. You know what I mean? Whatever it is, any kind. And so I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's that transcendence, or whatever that practice is, and different people do it differently. You know, sometimes we might have some preference, like I'm gonna live a monk life. Sometimes I'm gonna live in the marketplace life. Sometimes I'm gonna live in the lab life.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm gonna live in my family life. Like,
yeah,
all of these things it's all the same thing, you know. And then we get to wash.
Yeah.
Or as you said, not wash, refine, or something like that. Yeah, we have a comment that says, naturally, I love to clean up my room. It gives good feeling afterwards. If I have the desire of the result, or have seen my parents do it, whatever it is, I do it because it is me. It all starts when you know yourself. That's absolutely deep. It all starts when you know yourself, when you respect your health, your time. After that, you realize that others also have those attributes. Even if they don't know themselves, you'll be more good to them. That is why we love our Prophet. I think he's talking about in Islam, Prophet Muhammad. It is all for the first question.
Nice.
Awesome. Thank you, and welcome for joining us. Beautiful. Okay. Let's see. Maybe we'll do, because now we've been on almost 2 hours.
Okay.
Maybe we'll finish with this last question.
Okay.
Let's see. Okay. Experiencing massive ruptures or repairs. If waking up from sleep is just a mini reincarnation, how can we use sound, prayer, or mantras as an organizing force to repair a broken relationship or a broken day?
Man, bro, that question. I don't even know where to start with that question, because there's so much in that question. One, on the back end, is how can we use those things to prepare, right? The sound, the mantra, those things. But what was the first part of the question again?
Which one? About mini reincarnation?
Yeah.
If waking up from sleep is just a mini reincarnation, how can we use sound, prayer, or mantras as an organizing force?
Well, let's just play with that first part for a quick minute. Do we believe in reincarnation or not? I might be a recent believer, actually, from what I experienced these last couple of weeks. Because before that, in all the places I've been and all the things I study, I always hear people talking about it, and it just never clicked. It never caught on. I just had so many questions. The math wasn't mathing, as you said. And recently, between ruptures and repairs, and between the self-reckoning muhasabah practice we've been doing, and between meditations, between blinks, everything began to show me some kind of synthesis or symmetry or continuity of awareness that is really sitting behind absolutely everything. And you could see it in the blink, you could see it in the meditation, you could see it when I go to sleep at night and wake up in the morning, you can see it echoed throughout reality, this idea of continuity of awareness. And for a brief moment, it felt like I saw into the nature of that awareness, where in between deaths, this continuity of awareness mimicked what was happening in between, uh, sleep and waking in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you notice, sometimes you're aware of your dreams at night and you wake up and you still have it. Sometimes you're aware of it and then you wake up and it slips within the first couple of minutes or the
Mm-hmm.
first hour or something. Sometimes you wake up, you have no idea what you dreamed. And I thought about the symmetry. I felt into the symmetry between that and reincarnation. And all of it just started seeming like, I don't know, it just started feeling like, damn, I'm about to believe this also, you know? I, and I'm not really doing it justice, all the things that happened around this, but it felt like some level of epiphany or awareness blew open for me that there is some continuity between life, death, and life that is mimicked in the very fabric of reality that we can see in all these things that I mentioned in terms of blink and meditation and dreaming and waking up in the morning and even just forgetting something when I went into the next room for any of these, that might be signs of something else, but any of these things that like it seemed like continuity of awareness and the loss of continuity of awareness is playing in reality.
Mm-hmm.
And so in terms of reincarnation, I wanted to just say that about that first part of the question.
Yeah, sleep being in quote unquote
A mini
reincarnation.
Reincarnation. Because I think we said it the other day, each iteration of myself that comes forward after epiphany or after some new awareness is another mini reincarnation. Like it was just seeing it everywhere. Like one of my friend Paula, she was saying that every time, she go into the new year and she write her goals down and it's a sort of mini reincarnation. And then mid-year, she looks back and see what she didn't do and create something different. There's something there. I haven't sussed it all the way out, but there's something there to be that I have the desire to see where it leads.
Yeah. One thing with since we're on the topic of that reincarnation, like, because I'm with you, like, in the sense, like, I'm like, does it make like, I don't know. The math is not math. I don't know. I still don't really have any experience as far as even the idea of reincarnation being something that I can know with certainty that I'm like, okay, I know for a fact this is something I've experienced and I can rest assured in that belief, and at the same time, I also think about what would it do if I do know it or believe it or have an idea of like this karma or moving from one place to another. Reincarnation meaning, and when I say that, I mean in the sense of coming back to a physical body like this, like from earth to earth to earth, again and again and again, in that sense. And sometimes it creates a level of urgency. I'm like, shit, whatever it is in this lifetime, I better know it because I don't want to come back trying to, you know what I mean? I'm not trying to come back and like live this whole thing again, that kind of, when it's like lessons or whatever it is that needs to be lived, or experienced or whatever it is. So sometimes it does create that level of urgency. Like if there's that, what they call it, that thin line that you kind of escape the karma or the dharma, the wheel of karma and dharma.
Yeah,
like,
bro.
Better find it this lifetime.
Right.
I'm not, even if I believe in it or not believe in it, whatever it is.
I will still do what I gotta do.
I'll still do what I gotta do.
I feel you.
The thing of like feeling the residue of past lives or something like that. I don't really know how to engage with it. Even within, let's say, the tradition that I grew up in, Islam, there is this idea of pre-eternity,
Mhm.
right? That all of these spirits, all of the souls, all of us,
Mhm.
like lining up or gathering up, and the beloved saying, "Am I not your Lord?" And we all replied, "Yes, indeed." And then
Mhm.
we came into this life. So this space that's in pre-eternity,
Wow.
that we agreed or we affirmed the testimony of oneness, um, and then coming to experience this and language around, saying, people saying to the beloved, "You let us experience life twice and death twice."
Mm.
It's like life twice, death. Like what is
Mhm.
that, right? And it's talking about the pre-eternal life, dying to that, being born here, experiencing this life, dying to it, and being born
Mm.
in the back into the pre-eternity
Oh, is that what
eternity
you mean
life,
by you said womb within womb?
right? So it's like from womb to womb to womb to womb, right? So this idea, but again, I don't necessarily. It still kind of be experienced from like a belief
Mm-hmm.
thing. What do I do with it? How can I? And not trying to make everything to be like, what's the utility of this for me? You know what I mean? But like, because stories in general, or myths in general, or these ideas seep through and change
Yeah.
texture of our
Facts.
lives.
That's facts.
So, but similar to you, this when I observe, now that we're in the 7 day challenge
Mm-hmm.
and we're doing the muhasaba and stuff like that, when I observe the residue of a an action yesterday or a decision a week ago and whatever, and I observe the residue of what it is here, it is in a sense a mini reincarnation.
Mm-hmm.
There's an
Mm-hmm.
aspect that is a thread of it, kind of like
Mm-hmm.
the thread of this,
Yeah.
right? The thread of
Yeah.
and these days are from one day to another, one day to another, and then there's the thread that's holding it all,
Exactly.
right? And I can mm, I can maybe create some kind of belief around
Mm-hmm.
it or something like that, or I can experience it for myself, that it's this breath that I go back to.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thread that it's taking me through my sleep. The minute I got here,
Wow.
I
Wow.
breathe. The minute I leave, I let it go. It's a thread that is, without it, this doesn't exist. If I cut that breath, which is why always the time, like just awareness of breath, just
Yeah.
be aware of your breath, which is really being aware of the thread that's running through the
Wow.
entire thing. And in that sense, I can imagine if somebody, reached some kind of level that is aware of the cosmic breath,
Yeah.
and they can be aware of their lives in pure eternity into this
Yeah.
life, and to them it's just one breath. It's this cosmic breath that they're
Exactly.
aware of.
Exactly.
I can see why somebody
Yeah.
would say these things about
Yeah, bro.
reincarnation and stuff like that.
That's beautifully expressed, man. I hadn't thought about the idea of breath. That link was really good. It made me think about I told you I would tell so many people that, like, because it was just such a special moment. I was with my mom, when she
Mm-hmm.
transitioned, when she died. Me and my brother was there when she took her last breath, and I always said, like, she was there with me when I had my first breath,
Mm-hmm.
and I was there with her when she took her last breath.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's such a special moment.
Mm-hmm.
Painful, but also it felt sacred.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I feel that same sacredness in this example that you gave. Like, there's something there about this continuity of life and awareness that one is pre-verbal, but also outside of space and time.
Yeah.
If reincarnation is a thing, might pop back up in a human body in a different time.
Right.
the past, even maybe like since
Mm.
it's outside of space, who knows? Like
Yeah.
this is all the leading
Yeah.
edge of evolution right here, right now, the eternal now. Um,
And then the sound and prayer and mantras organizing force to repair a broken day or broken relationship and stuff like
yeah,
that.
I had a Jyotish reading by this Jyotishi, and Jyotish
Mhm.
is Vedic astrology, named Adrian Schoenfield. And I got to tell you, man, it was phenomenal. One of the best ones I ever had because she spent like over 8 hours just going down into like the depths of my Vedic astrology chart.
Mm-hmm.
And so when she came back up with all this information about the connections between the D60 chart, the D9 chart, the D1 chart, and all the kind of things that came about it over this past year, I've been researching it
Mm-hmm.
and also looking back historically on my life
Mm-hmm.
to see, what, how does this, how do I cross reference what I'm learning here in this reading
Mm-hmm.
with what I've already been through?
Mm-hmm.
And then let me experiment with it right now and
Yeah.
see how it holds up.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all happening while we're doing the Mahaspal practice,
Mm-hmm.
while I'm having these revelations, the ruptures and repairs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, it's just so accurate.
Mm.
Then on top of that, I put it together with my cosmic human design,
Mm-hmm.
which to me has been one of the most relevant systems I've ever dealt with, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I did tropical human design, I did sidereal, and now cosmic human design. I spent years
Mm-hmm.
going through to this point. And so to line these two systems up, it felt like the Jyotish gave me the beautiful cosmic weather
Mm-hmm.
of what was happening in my life up until now,
Mm-hmm.
in previous lives.
Mm-hmm.
Because the D60 chart is about the things that have come with you from other lives to
Mm-hmm.
this life, that the lessons that you're here to learn, the things that you're here to go through,
Mm-hmm.
all this idea of the predestined thing and the karma stuff that we've been playing with.
Mm-hmm.
And when I put the human design, cosmic human design, next to that chart, the way it lined up so synchronistically, so mathematically, so precise, bro, was absolutely crazy. It felt like the cosmic human design was the spaceship in which I'm flying through the cosmic weather of my Jyotish chart.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
around like comets and
Yeah.
all this stuff. It feels like that, and it's this constant relationship with it. The Mahasabha practice, the transcending, the
Mm-hmm.
self-accounting, all these
Mm-hmm.
things based on what life is doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just
Mm-hmm.
incredible. But anyway, that second part of the question is really relevant in terms of let's say if I do believe that I'm dealing with karmic influences that's coming in,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and the Vedas, they talk about sound quality, the mantras we use,
Yes.
whether it's the chants, maybe in other traditions they
Yeah.
have different names for these systems,
Yeah.
but they all speak to in certain traditions, pleasing the gods,
Mm-hmm.
or sacrificing the gods, or
Mm-hmm.
finding the tonal attunement
Mm-hmm.
to allow your nervous system to come back in alignment with natural law,
Mm-hmm.
with the cosmic weather,
Mm-hmm.
so that you can transcend or uh, relate to the karma in a way that is
Yeah.
not completely uh, in conflict with your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like you have the karma there, but depending on the level of your awareness, according to these systems, how you engage with it and how it engages with you is literally based on your awareness,
Mm-hmm.
and how aware you are of
Yeah.
the tones, the sounds that are oscillating within you, your
Yeah.
transcendence. Everything is speaking back and forth to this cosmic weather.
Mm-hmm.
Because its intention, although some people look at it as it like I'm going through a horrible season right now, everything in it is like that plane headed in one direction,
Mm-hmm.
and that's back to Sat Chidananda, the eternal bliss consciousness. That's
Mm-hmm.
back to wholeness,
Mm-hmm.
from wholeness, within wholeness, into wholeness.
Yeah.
But with the perception and is learning, um, is the realignment with its symmetry to the
Mm-hmm.
wholeness,
Mm-hmm.
and it's doing that through vibration.
Yeah.
It's doing that through tonation. It's
Yeah.
doing that through not just auditory and acoustic,
Yes.
but an inner pre
Yeah.
vocal
Yeah. Yeah.
auditory and attunement with natural law
Yeah.
that's happening through these mantras.
Mm-hmm.
I only know certain mantras, so I can't say all of them.
Yeah.
Through these names of God, through
Yeah.
these, through probably even just singing from the
Right.
deepest sense of your heart,
Right.
playing these instruments,
Yeah.
and you going in that zone. You remember that movie Soul?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's like
Yep.
that. Like
Yep.
you going
I love that movie, by the way.
into into
Yeah.
a level of transcendental beingness, and you're washing
Yeah.
from that point.
Yeah.
How would you answer?
Absolutely. Yeah, man. I think similar to what you're saying, sound, prayer, mantras, and breath practices. I guess somebody they're mentioning Wim Hof or
Oh,
different other breath practices. Each tradition kind of have their own, and
yeah.
sometimes, or it doesn't have to be tradition specific. Kind of like I don't know what Wim Hof, if it's tradition specific or not, but
Mhm.
these things, sound, prayer, mantras, to organize a force to repair broken day or broken relationship, something like that. I think it really is in order to be able to expand perception or refine perception,
Mhm.
right? So that there is the ability to repair, quote unquote, a broken day or a broken relationship or whatever it
Yeah.
is, right? And these sounds that are, not just acoustics, there is, I don't know if you've experienced something like that, but like, or somebody who's experienced something like that where, being in a space and there's just constant chant, let's say, or music,
Yeah.
and really being in that space for like days on end, 7 days. At some point, bro, there's nobody playing, nobody chanting,
Yeah.
but the vibration of these chants and these playing, it's still there.
Yeah, man.
It reverbed in sleep also. Like I would sleep and wake up with it.
Yeah.
I would sleep, it's in it. The
Yeah.
sleep itself has a different quality. The
Yeah.
dreams have a different quality.
Yeah, man.
That's why in a lot of traditions, when they do these certain ceremonies, they tell you, watch your dreams.
Yeah.
Now it's a different quality of those vibrations. Now they're really penetrating into bypassing whatever
Yeah,
rational
man.
thing we have, and it's just going real deep. In the Native American tradition, when they're doing, like, let's say, a sun dance or ceremony or fire dance or moon dance and stuff like that, they go, I don't know which tribe this is, but they go around in a particular way and they're singing, they're drumming, right? Look at that, those kind of vibrations.
Yeah.
The drum that's like really representative of the heart, and boom, boom, boom. And then at the end, after like hours, they just sleep in that moment that they're standing in. You know what I mean? And imagine the refinement and expansion of perception in that way, right? Now, if I'm not in ceremony every day, right? If I'm not drumming every day and having these physical tools,
Yeah.
right? How can I do it? And for me, and this is one thing that we were talking about yesterday, is like, using these mantras throughout the day,
Yeah.
right? Like for me, I know a mantra that carried me through. Like it was the boat, the ocean, the sun, the clouds when I needed it, the wind and the breeze, and the sailor. What do they call that? The thing on the boat that you let out, the sail.
Yeah.
It was all of it, and it was Ya Rahman, oh, most compassionate, most loving, most merciful, most all of that. And even as a vibration within me, as that starts to what's that word?
Reverberate.
Reverberate. Ya Rahman, Ya Rahman. And there's these sounds that, now obviously I have a conceptual understanding of it because of the language. I understand the
Yeah.
language, right? But even the sound quality of the name,
Yeah.
the Ra, Ha, Meen, right? Which means womb, by the way.
Uh-huh.
Sitting in that and having that mantra wash over everything that I'm seeing, having it be the first filter of which I'm experiencing reality,
Yeah.
right? It does bring an organizing force to engage in reality in a different way, right? It creates a particular color, and a particular texture in how I'm engaging with reality. So it is organizing in that way.
Yeah.
It is a mantra. It is a sound. It is a prayer.
Yeah.
It is all of these things that I don't necessarily need to be in ceremony in order to practice.
Yeah.
The day becomes the ceremony. Like it's just, there's a whole, and which is, I like, this is something that I like even as a tool. I'm, I don't know how to say that even. I make my life or my day a myth.
Yeah.
I make it mystical in whatever way, not to run away from whatever the moment is, but in order to be able to engage with it and bypass my rational mind and what reactions it wants to do.
Yeah.
So then, okay, let the myth play here. Let the curiosity play here. Let the I don't know play here. So that I'm looking at things and it's Ya Rahman, oh merciful, oh love, kind of like saying, it's like saying, oh love. Imagine like walking around saying, oh love, oh love, oh love. Like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know?
That's beautiful.
And
bro.
still meeting the world. So the world. So in that way, it is definitely organizing.
Yeah.
It kind of has this kind of quality of like, okay, here it is. And at the same time, expansive. Like, it is wild in that sense.
Yeah. Just what you just described, you remind me of this thing my niece Nikrishna told me that she heard from a friend. God, let my life be a thank you to you. Let my life be my thank you to you. And I feel that quality, that texture there when you describe this, using that as a prayer throughout the day.
Yeah.
Like you're walking in that state of gratitude and it's lining up all your actions, your choices. I would imagine, I guess I'll ask you this question, like, just as organizing as it can be, I would imagine too, a perception that's not aware of it, it could seemingly be destructive. Because I imagine it could pull relationships together, but also tear some apart.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, that's the thing. It's organizing in perception, but not necessarily keeping things the same. Like, yeah, it's not like it may look destructive on the outside, or things that are not stable may start to fall away, or you see things in their true color, let's say, right? Or their proper position in which they are in relation to you. You know, so that can be paradigm challenging, I guess, or you get what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So, and at the same time, destructive, I guess, is this another way you were meaning destructive? Meaning like, if I'm just saying it without engaging in reality, that it just becomes a mindless, mechanical way of me thinking I'm doing some kind of work, but in reality,
so I'm doing it without any presence.
Doing it without any presence.
I didn't think about that, but that's a great point. You know, where ritual becomes mechanical.
Ritual becomes mechanical.
You know, and there's no presence in it.
Yeah. The thing, like, the thing is in this is for me my own kind of how it brings into my own practice. It's like these mantras or these prayers are offered or practiced to manifest from within.
Mm-hmm. What is it? What do you mean when you say manifest from within?
Meaning, like, when I'm saying Ya Rahman, or when I'm saying Oh Love, or when I'm saying, let's say, Allah or God or whatever it is, or God, let my life be a thank you to you,
Mm-hmm.
that this movement, this practice is not seeking something outside of myself.
Ah.
So when I'm saying or invoking Oh Merciful, I am making space within myself for the merciful to manifest.
Beautiful.
Let my life be a thank you to you. I am creating space within myself for that gratitude and thank you to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
Oh love, I'm creating space within myself for love to manifest.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not experiencing it or practicing it in a way that it's somewhere outside of me that I need to grab on and
Right.
capture and have it be here and have my awareness be on it. And not in, it's just really just making space.
Mm-hmm.
The whole part is just receptivity.
Yeah.
It's just being receptive for that quality to manifest, you know?
Mm.
And the focus or the organizing force, I guess, is on the quality that is desired for that manifestation, that is desired to manifest. So you just
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, this is, I desire to manifest that quality,
Mm-hmm.
you know? So much so that when I go to my favorite cafe, Paper Plane, they call me Mercy. Like,
Mm.
it just, it goes, I want it. Like, there's a desire for it. And then there's the taste, kind of like what we talked the other day. And then you taste a little bit and you're like, ooh. It's like you just go in, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So it can be kind of what you said, it can be destructive if it reinforces duality,
Mm-hmm.
if it reinforces conditioning,
Mm-hmm.
and it just becomes mechanical in that way. Now, actually, I don't know. But I can suspect that, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But if somebody's doing it, you know, can the sound vibration or that itself
Still.
start to do its work even at the most subtlest level, and
Mm.
maybe something is happening that
I imagine.
that and maybe that's where the destructive thing happened, that this change starts to happen, and yet the individual feels it
Mm-hmm.
bubbling up and feels that change happen, but yet somehow can't meet it,
Yeah.
somehow cannot let it bloom,
Mm.
right? And that's when the destructive can, it's like it, but there's no way around it. It's like
Yeah.
water, like it's gonna cut through a rock
Yeah.
long enough, it's gonna start to
Facts.
to bend rock and cut through it,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
From your perspective, is sincerity a prerequisite for presence?
I think so.
Mm-hmm.
In how I experience presence, yeah, because it's just sincerity is like, mind you, every time I hear the word sincerity, I hear it in Arabic too,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Which is?
And this is a whole, because it has another whole world, which is ikhlas. Now, in sincerity, and I hear that, and I hear honesty,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like sincere, honest.
Mm-hmm.
Real. That's what I also hear. Unified, undivided.
Mm-hmm.
Sincerity is undivided. Um, in Arabic, also the word is like only what matters.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to paint image. I don't know how to,
Mm-hmm.
So can presence be experienced in a space that's not honest?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like the prerequisite, right? If it's not honest, it's performed presence, or maybe not even performed presence. If it's not honest, maybe it's just attention.
Mm-hmm.
Because attention can be there. I can put my attention on something.
And still be absent.
It can still be still be absent. Or
Case in point, driving the car and being at the destination.
yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah, honesty, and I do think sincerity. If I equate it to honesty, I do think it's a prerequisite to presence,
Mm-hmm.
to this quality of, because what presence, you meeting yourself, like it's just that,
Mm-hmm.
at least to me, in how it's felt, and all the other stuff that comes with it that are, depending on the moment, is
Mm-hmm.
just colored in so many different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that presence is colored in um, moments that are grandiose, or moments that are awe, and that presence kind of whew, settles in, and you're looking around and you're like, whoa, right? And sometimes that presence comes in moments that are hard and difficult,
Mm.
and require, in order to stay in that presence, require self-disclosure. It's a requirement. That's what honesty is, right? It's to be honest, is to,
Yeah.
like, here it is,
Yeah.
here I am, right? I don't know, this verse from Quran came when it said, when God is talking to Moses, innani ana Allah la ilaha illa ana, it is I am Allah, there is no deity except I.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, that's like, that's imagine the divine, the beloved, testifying its own oneness.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like the divine testifying its own oneness.
Mm-hmm.
I am the one, and it's telling itself. So it's like, it's that
Mm-hmm.
presence has that quality in it of, but in order for it to take full circle, sincerity, honesty, and it just, now it's like there as a seed. It's like, but like we spoke the other day, it's the beginning and the end,
Mm-hmm.
because it's its own fruit,
Mm-hmm.
and it's the seed within its own fruit.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, but the taste of it. One thing that one of our members on the school community, which you should check out if you're watching this, um, said something, and he said, the image of that, or the taste of that, he's like, I'm not there all the time,
Mm-hmm.
but the image, I'm paraphrasing, the image or the taste of that keeps me going.
Mm.
I'm not all the time in that space of complete honesty and complete presence when it's felt, and it's not like mystical or anything like that, in that sense, but it definitely is experienced. There's some kind of a quality to it that's so distinct. So I'm not necessarily all the time there. However, the taste of it
Mm-hmm.
keeps me going. The taste of it keeps me going back to the practice and back to the
Yeah.
work. The taste of it is real. It's meeting
Mhm.
reality as it is. And the taste is just back again, back
Mhm.
again, back again, back again. And then it comes and it's like, Alhamdulillah, thank you, God. Like it's such, even in the midst of
Yeah.
when it's tough, right? It's just like, it makes the hardship, it brings some ease in the hardship. And you're
Mhm.
like, okay, keep going, keep going.
Mhm.
You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Um, yeah, that's what I think about
Beautifully expressed,
sincerity
bro.
and thanks and presence.
Mhm.
How do you feel about that?
I feel the same, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I feel it's baked in. In
Yeah,
order to be present, it has to be sincerity,
yeah,
you know? Otherwise, I can't see you and you can't see me,
right.
you know?
Mm-hmm.
Just mask looking at mask, trying to connect with mask.
Mm-hmm.
But with sincerity there, I'm really present. You get to see me, I get to be seen,
Mm-hmm.
I get to see you, and you get to experience being seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a really powerful thing in any relationship,
Mm-hmm.
but in life in general. To show up for your life,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be sincere.
Yeah,
You know, it can't be a printout of somebody else's convictions or desires
yeah,
or philosophies. Even if it starts off that way, somehow it has to be made your own.
yeah,
Sincerity,
yeah.
from
Gotta be
sincerity to
t-
sincerity.
tasted.
Mm-hmm.
One gotta taste it.
Yeah.
And a big part of the inquiry, like I remember, bro, like I asked myself that question so much when I first learned the muhasaba stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
this was years ago. Like I would just ask, trying to dial in on my intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to get into what am I doing for what reason, all that
Mm-hmm.
kind of stuff. Really getting into like, am I sincere? Am
Mm-hmm.
I truly sincere in
Yeah.
this way when I say, oh, I'm doing this because of the love of God,
Yeah.
and I'm actually just suffering,
Mm-hmm.
and I just don't want to be suffering, but I'm painting it was because I love
Yeah.
God. The minute the honesty came of what it is,
Mm-hmm.
this is weird. I don't even know how to like. The minute that love showed itself,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
the minute that honesty came and settled itself in of what the intention is, and then it's like, oh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then just that presence came right with it,
Yeah.
and that intention, and it became less about, you know, excavating for the intention,
Mm-hmm.
but the attention revealing itself.
Yeah.
It just became more like that. And it's I think it's a maybe a big part of everyone's journey
Yeah.
in self-inquiry of why am I doing this? Why am
Exactly.
I doing that? Da, 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 da. Big part of the muhasaba practice, big part of all these things. So, it's I would say even that idea of sincerity and honesty and stuff like that, like give it its proper due,
Yeah.
not to overjump it or not to make it something that's whatever, like just even sitting with that, like even any conversation that I would go into in whatever, traveling or whatever, the books that I would read, I'm like, anytime I see somebody, I'm asking, what is sincerity?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
then they would give me an answer. And I'm like, okay, I'll sit with that. Sometimes it's satisfying, sometimes it's not. I
Mm-hmm.
go somewhere else and I ask in Arabic, what is ikhlas?
Mm-hmm.
And then they would be like, I mean, there's a verse in the Quran, it's called ikhlas, right? It's the unity.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's all one. But then I'm like, hear it, and it just didn't mean that. I didn't know what to do with all of this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it was just coming in. Sometimes it felt like that answer was put really deep down within me. It's just for it to start to show itself,
Yeah.
you know. So I think it's a big part to know really the honest
Exactly.
reality of which the moment that I'm in right now. Because that's
Exactly.
what honesty is, just the moment.
Yeah. When I think of sincerity, for some reason, the imagery that comes in my head is my pulse.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I think is because it's not static,
Mm-hmm.
it's something that I'm often checking on. I feel it. It's right beneath the skin. It's always there. Can always go back to it. I think sincerity can be like that, where you have to understand that it's just not static. It's something you go back to. It's always moving. It's always evolving along with honesty, emotional honesty.
Mm-hmm.
As more of yourself is revealed, more of yourself is revealed.
Yeah.
As more sincerity is revealed, more sincerity is revealed. It
Yeah.
begets itself. It creates fruit after its own kind. So you have to continually check back in, curving back on yourself, creating sincerity again and again, or really the awareness of it,
Mm-hmm.
because it's always there. But to the degree we're aware of it, you have to check in on it.
Yeah.
It's pulsing, it's oscillating, it's showing things. We're moving within it. It is us,
Mm-hmm.
But if it's covered, like your pulse could be covered with undigested food particles that they call ama.
Mm-hmm.
If your sincerity is covered, then it's the mask. It's not all of me showing up,
Mm-hmm.
even if that all of me is not static.
Yeah.
It's intransitus. It's
Yeah.
always at the leading of evolution.
Mm-hmm.
But in order to know it, I got to be tapped into it.
Yeah.
I think one of the things too is, again, like you said earlier, never really think I got it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always in relationship to it
Yeah.
in terms of my mind,
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, and emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Thank God.
Hallelujah. Namaste. All the good stuff.
Namaste. Yes. Yes.
All right.
Awesome. Well, thank you all. Thank you for joining in. Ziyahul, I'm gonna butcher how you say how to pronounce that name. But thank you for jumping in
Yeah.
and contributing to this conversation. We really appreciate the presence
Yes.
of being here. We'll, God willing, jump on another live next week. Until then, please check out our school community in the description below, or on our channel as well. We kind of talk and practice, put all of these things into practice, really.
Exactly.
Muhasaba, the practice of self-accounting, the practice of watchfulness or transcendence, and how we use dhikr. And it's all coming from different traditions and not necessarily using one particular language, but we're just all using our own ways in order to point at the same thing.
Exactly.
A place where we're practicing together and in companionship or in communion, I guess. So until then, please, as you watch it, do we have it time? What time do you guys go live schedule? We don't know yet. It's been like on Fridays, but sometimes typically at 1 p.m. Eastern time. Typically that's when we would start. So hopefully we can have some kind of a cadence when it comes to that, God willing.
Yes.
God willing. Yeah, thank you so much for asking about that. Until then, we hope you join us in the school, but until then, hopefully we'll catch you next Friday, God willing. So much love.
Peace.